Okay, we've been given the task of creating a 3 by 6 array using a geoboard. A geoboard is a board with pegs and rubber bands, and you use the rubber bands to create designs or shapes, whatever you choose to create with it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab a rubber band and hook it on one of the pegs. We can call them points. That shows me 1 unit. To see my units better, I can click on the grid on the bottom. Now I can actually count my units well. There's 1 unit. I need to make 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to click in between the pegs or the points. And if you pull that, that's like a real rubber band, I can pull it over to another peg. That gives me 2 columns. In the middle, pull down, and now I have a rectangle. I'm going to shade in that rectangle. If you look at the triangles here, one is shaded, one is not. Click on that, and that shades in that area for you. So now I can see that I have 3 rows, because we like to do rows and then columns when we're naming the dimensions. So I have 3 rows. Let's label that. Click on the pencil. That's 3. And remember, each segment is a foot. That's 3 feet. And then I have 2 columns, so I can put 2 feet for the dimensions of my columns going down. So right now I have a 3 by 2, that's kind of how we name it, a 3 by 2 array, or a rectangle that's 3 by 2. But I need to make a 3 by 6 rectangle. So far I have 2 feet or 2 columns going down. I need 4 more to complete that 6. So I'm going to choose a different color for my rubber band. I think I'll go with purple. Click and drag the rubber band, hang it on the hook where that first rectangle ended. Click in the center of the rubber band and drag over 1, 2, 3, 4 more feet. I can click on this point and bring it down, click in the middle of the rubber band and bring it down and hook it to that peg. Let's go ahead and shade that in by clicking on the triangle. And now I'm going to label this section of my 3 by 6 array. So I know, oops, I didn't mean to give myself an extra rubber band, so ignore that one. I know I have 3 rows. Remember, we named the rows first. Click that pencil again. I have, one more time, 3 rows or 3 feet. And I have 4 columns, so 4 feet going down. Okay, so my purple rectangle is a 3 by 4, rows by columns. So if I were to label these, write my equation, since I've labeled them already, write my equation so I can solve and see what the total area of this rectangle, this 3 by 6 rectangle is. Breaking apart the rectangle just makes it easier sometimes to figure out the total area. I have one rectangle that is 3 feet by 2 feet. Remember, 3 rows by 2 columns, so 3 feet by 2 feet. And to show that's a separate rectangle, I'm going to put parentheses around it. So parentheses there, parentheses there. That names my first rectangle. And I'm going to add it together with my second rectangle. Rows first, so I have 3 feet. Okay, rows and then columns, so 3 feet, that's a G. By, counting my columns, 4 feet. So it's a 3 by 4 array. I'm going to put parentheses around it to separate it from my first rectangle. So there are the dimensions of my second rectangle, if you can read that. Not the greatest writing tool, but it does the job. So now let's go ahead and either add up or multiply how many square units are in that rectangle. So I've got 3 feet by 2 feet, 3 by 2, or 3 times 2, and that gives me 6. But the thing is, when we talk about area, we measure in square units. So that is 6 square, I'm going to abbreviate each one of those, square feet. SQ for square, FT for feet. So my first rectangle has an area of 6 square feet, plus my second rectangle, it's a 3 by 4 or 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. So the area of my purple rectangle is 12 square feet. Area is always measured in square units. If I add those together, I get 6 plus 12, that's 18. And if you think about it, 3 times 6 is 18, and so either way you get the same answer.